Hello friends, welcome to all of you. This is topic number 3.3. The critiques on the classical theory of employment. In the previous lecture, we discussed the classical theory and the important part of classical theory, GB says law of the market. This is also an important part in classical theory. So topic number 3, we already discussed the different views on the employment, the classical view and the Keynesian theory of employment. And the important part of this classical theory, JB says law of market. And today we are looking here the Keynesian criticism on the classical theory of employment. And the next, after that, the Keynesian theory of employment and output. And last one about the criticism of the Keynesian theory. So critics on the classical theory of employment. The question of employment is important for everyone, for the nation point of view and the personal point of view. That's why the employment study is included into the macroeconomics. Similarly, the issue of employment is equally important for nation, and the consequences created by the trade cycles and phases of trade cycle means the recession and the depression. They create a huge number of unemployment, and these unemployment create various issues, and these issues are important from the macro point of view. And this topic we already discussed. There are the different view of the employment. Classical theory of employment, which is made by the Adam Smith, J.B. Say, Professor Pigou, Marshall, J.S. Mill, etc. people. And Keynesian theory of employment is made in 1936 by J.M. Keynes. Also, modern point of view employment theory, they built up by the Milton Friedman, Baumol, Tobin, Modigliani. But in this topic, we are looking only two theories, the classical theory of employment and Keynesian theory of employment. So classical theory of employment is not only one economics theory, it is a theory of Adam Smith, David Ricardo, Dr. Marshall, J.S. Mill, J.B.C., Professor Pigou, Marshall, Robertson. These are the people is the combinedly express their view about the employment. So thought present in the economics from Adam Smith to the till 1930 is called the classical thought economist, and the term classical economics was first used by the Karl Marx to describe the economic thought to David Ricardo and its predecessors and including Adam Smith. So thought from the Adam Smith till to the Great Depression 1930, it's called the classical thought or thoughts of the economics, and these economics is the express their view about the employment. Their view that there is always full employment in the economy, and the economy is the equilibrium at the point of full employment. But their main dependency on the JB says law. JB says, John Baptist says, he is explained his law in the 1803, his book of titled Political Economic Q, means political economy thesis he present, and he explained his law. His law is that every supply creates its own demand. So the classical theory of employment is direct or indirect based on JBC's law of market, and their analysis about the micro or specific. They think that there is always natural tendency create the full employment in the capitalistic economy. And according to Keynes, classical economics refers the traditional or orthodox principle economics that have come accept the several well-known economics. In fact, Keynes also acknowledged some principle of the classical economics but reject the principle of laissez-faire, and this classical theory is failed in the period of 1929 and 30 Great Depression, when the huge number of unemployment created everywhere and all over the world. So they are not find the answer why the unemployment created and how to remove unemployment. On the background of this, the J.M. Keynes he explained his theory, and that's why the classical theory is popular only till to the 1930s period. But after that, the classical theory was failed to analyze unemployment and phases of trade cycle, recession and depression. So the Keynes, the critics on the classical theory in his book The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money, and present he is the separate theory about the employment in 1936. So Keynes criticized the classical theory, and we looking here the critics of Keynes on the classical theory. So what he critiques on the classical theory? First critiques on the about the full employment. According to Keynes, the full employment is the exceptional case, and there is always the unemployment situation. So it is an unrealistic assumption. There is always a full employment, because the full employment is not a normal situation. So Keynes is critics on the assumption of the classical theory. Full employment, according to Keynes, full employment is the exceptional case, and always there is the unemployment. The next critics of Keynes is the sales law of market. According to J.V. Say, there is the every supply creates its own demand, means every goods produce the sales in the market. But according to Keynes, there is a lack of effective demand, and therefore there is no supply equal to demand, and there is a deficiency of aggregate demand. Therefore, though he criticized the sales law of market, not supply creates its own demand. The next critics on laissez-faire policy. The classical economics believe that there is no intervention of government, but according to Keynes, the problem like unemployment, problem of inflation, problem of COVID pandemic, these kind of problem only sorted out by the government intervention. So the government intervention is necessary, but classical economics is believe on laissez-faire policy. So Keynes criticized their policy. The next critics on the classical theory, they reject the saving and investment. According to classical theory, the always saving is equal to investment, but according to Keynes, the saver and investor two different group of people, and saving is not only depend on the rate of interest, also depend on the income, and the people spend some money on their consumption, and the remaining part is the saving. So income minus consumption, remaining is the saving. So income is not equal to the investment, because investment is also depend upon the two things, rate of interest and marginal efficiency of capital. So both two things are not equal to each other. That's why government role is important to create the equilibrium. So rejected the assumption the saving equal to investment. The neglect the other functions of money is the another critics. According to classical economy, the money is used for only one purpose, medium of exchange. The money has the several uses, like the uses for the store of value, use for the standard of deferred payment, use the tools of the transportation, the liquidity from one place to another place. So there are the many functions of the money which is forget by the classical economics. Next critics about the closed economy. The classical economics is the assume that there is a closed economy, there is no international trade, but today's world every economy is related to the other country, there is a export import. So the critics on the closed economy of the classical economics. The next critics is about the wage cut policy. According to classical economics, there is the price and wage rate, the flexibility. When the unemployment is created, they cut down the wage rate and price, and then we reach the equilibrium position. But according to Keynes, in today's world, the trade union is very strong. That's why they not agree with the reduction in the wage rate, and the wage rate reduction is not a solution to create employment, and it's not possible in today's world. So next is about the direct relation between money wages and real wages. According to Keynes, there is an inverse relation between these two, money wages and real wages. When money wages fall, real wages rise, and vice versa. Therefore, reduction in money wages would not reduce the real wages. So the classical view that fall in the real wages will increase employment is a breakdown. So there is no direct relation between money wages and real wages according to Keynes. The non-general theory. According to Keynes, the classical theory is a specific theory which is applicable only the capitalistic country and certain kind of conditions and certain level of the assumption. So it is not a general theory widely accepted all the world. It is this specific theory, and this is the critics by the Keynes. The next critics, unrealistic assumption. The classical economics is believe that the perfect competition, the closed economy in today's world, there is no perfect competition exists, and every country is use the export import. So there is no closed economy, and so that's why the classical economics is believed unrealistic assumption. Next, criticism on the long run. The classical economics believe that the long run the demand equal to supply and supply is equal to demand. So in the long run we all are dying. So what is happening to the short run is important. So classical economics they ignore the short run analysis, and that's why the Keynes critics on their long run assumption. The next critics about the classical economics and classical theory is given static analysis of economy, the basis of the closed economy, when the perfect competition, when the closed economy. So there is the static analysis about the full employment, and they ignore the empirical fact of changing level of employment in the real world. The classical theory has a little practical significance. It does not provide any solution to on the problem of unemployment, recession and trade cycle. So here end our lecture, the Keynesian critics on classical theory. Summary of theory. Classical theory and their view still very popular till to the 1930, but after Great Depression they failed to analyze the situation of unemployment and face of trade cycle, recession, depression. And the background of this, the John Maynard Keynes published his book The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money in 1936 and explained his own theory and criticized the classical theory. So Keynes strongly criticized the classical theory, but the some of the things he accepts, but other things is rejected. According to him, the assumption of classical theory unrealistic and incapable to solving the present day the economic problem of capitalistic economy and rest of world. So in spite of this criticism, the classical theory is also important, given direction to the employment thought and employment theories, and it has continued to exercise a considerable influence of economic thinking. So references for this point, you can use M.L. Jingan macroeconomic theory, H.L. Ahuja macroeconomic theory, and Rasa R.G. S.P. Adhav Hotekar, the Business Economics Macro Persian publication book. So you can refer these books for your study. Assignment question. What question will be asked on this topic? The Keynesian criticism on the classical theory of employment. So explain the Keynesian criticism on the classical theory of employment. This is a 50 to 10 marks question will be asked in examination. So thank you for watching this video, and next time we will be meet with the another point, the Keynesian theory of employment and the output. Thank you.